Good morning, Doctor. My name is Muhammad Zulfikri Binjoni. Metric number is 2780009. Today, I will present my part, which is executive summary and summary for this article. So, for the executive summary, background research is about the sale of boxes that provide unrestricted access to intellectual works is considered illegal. Statement of problem is the sale of boxes containing unauthorized access to copyright works. And objective of research is to prevent piracy from becoming a common practice in the future. And the finding of research is court has ruled that the sale, offer for sale, distribution, and or supply of TV boxes or illegal streaming devices (ISD) that allow illegal access to copyright works violates the Copyright Act 1987. And the recommendation is fight the digital piracy such as steps and controls are tightened those who are involved in this article. So far, the summary of this article is about the sale of boxes that provide unrestricted access to intellectual works is considered illegal. Through partnering with the Kuala Lumpur Intellectual Property High Court, the court has decided that the sale, offer for sale, distribution, and or supply of TV boxes or illegal streaming devices (ISD) are unlawful illegal access to copy protected materials work violates the Copyright Act 1987. The verdict reached by the highest courts is the result of a successful court case brought on 8 and 12 February against ISD retailers. The court's decision received a positive response from certain parties, especially the authorities and industry players in the fight they have taken on digital piracy. Chief Regulatory Officer, MCMC, Finas, My IPO, and Avia are the people that united in their support for the High Court's audacious decision. This historic proclamation will improve the country's intellectual property protection and continuing anti-piracy measures, both of which are critical to ensuring sustained investment and job development in the media and entertainment business of Malaysia.
Good day to Mr. Laju. My name is Tan Si Hui, metric number 279851. I'm going to analyze the ethical issue on ISD seller selling ISD that are unauthorized access which containing unauthorized content constitute infringement. The ethical issue is a moral dilemma that will occur in a business that needs to be resolved on a situation when a moral standard is called into doubt. There are three kinds of business ethical issue, which are corporate issue, systemic issue, and individual issues. According to a statement, Astro Malaysia service provider Nisat Broadcast Network Sedia Berhad has previously sued an illegal streaming device seller for selling TV boxes containing illegal streaming content that could be obtained through website or content server. The corporate issue in this case is ISD seller selling ISD that allow access to unauthorized copyright content constitute copyright infringement. The harmful caused by piracy is inexhaustible, including damage to the interests of rights holder and damage to consumer rights. In addition, piracy is easy to breed crimes and cause loss of national tax revenue. The reason for piracy include economic interests, weak awareness of intellectual property rights, weak and insufficient law enforcement, and imperfect interdepartmental collaboration mechanism. According to Astor, the industry suffered an estimated loss of more than 3 billion annually due to piracy alone, while costing the industry another 500 million in tax revenue and putting thousands of jobs at risk. While this intellectual property high court decision targets those who selling and distributing illegal TV boxes, it does not appear to cover those who own such ISD. The systemic issue is raised as there is the existence of a legal loophole. The economic damage caused by widespread use of ISDs far outweighs physical copyright piracy. These devices are a part of a wider network of online copyright piracy that, in the long run, will inhibit original creators from creating works. Our government has been making a concerted effort to stop digital piracy such as Enforced Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, Communication and Multimedia Regulation 2000, and Copyright Act 1987. Also, Venus unveiled a campaign which IKE that uses appealing award to address concerns like copyright piracy. For individual issues, a corporate director of an IT firm has been accused of promoting a long TV Android set-top box that were allowed by passing copyright broadcast technology protection measures. On February 8 of this year, the Shah Alam Magistrate Court filed a complaint, the Copyright Act 1987. against a director of a technology company for publishing long TV. A lawsuit against an Android TV box that would allow technical protection measures for copyright broadcast content. On February 16, a female director of a mobile accessory company pleaded guilty to charges of possessing a TV media box containing software to illegally stream and store content over the internet. The director behaved unethically can be analyzed from a psychological point of view, which are proof and greed. Especially in the early time of the enterprise, there will be loss of rook rights to escape of lawless. The cost of crime is too low and easy to get, and the punishment is relatively small, especially the previous Malaysian law is very light punishment for piracy, and the public is not aware of the economic harm of piracy. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Good day to doctor. My name is Guan Xingyi, metric number 280023. So now I'm going to present on demonstrating the ability to apply with the ethical theories and also concepts that we have learned in the classroom. So firstly, our group has identified the ethical issue from the case chosen, which is ISD sellers selling ISDs that allow access to unauthorized copyright content constitute copyright infringement. So the ethical concept that can be applied to the issue of copyright infringement is the concept of rights. So the general concept of rights is the sense that individuals are given permission and also entitlements to do certain things that other parties or government will not infringe upon. So according to Moore, there are three kinds of rights, which are natural rights, moral rights, and also legal rights. So the modern concept of natural rights has developed from ancient and medieval ideas of natural law. So they believe that people acquire a variety of rights from nature. They were able to exercise their natural rights, including the rights to liberty, the rights to property, and also the rights to life. On the other hand, moral rights are those that are based on human consciousness. They are supported by the moral strength of human brain behind them. So no legal action may be taken against someone who violates the moral right. While legal rights are the common individual claims that are enforced by the state since they are recognized by all educated societies as necessary claims for human development. So the kind of right that can be applied in this copyright infringement ethical issue is the legal right. The TV box itself is legal, but it is said to be illegal when an unauthorized cable connection or international satellite is connected to it. And also another factors that can cause us the TV box to be known as illegal devices is because they do not have the SIRIM approval, so they cannot be used in our country, Malaysia. So in May 2021, the Intellectual Property High Court ruled that the sale and distribution of TV box that provide unauthorized access to copyright works are henceforth deemed as a copyright violation. So the person may be held liable under Section 239 of the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998 if he or she used TV box to stream illegal content. So the following ethical theory that can be applied to the issue of copyright infringement is the utilitarianism theory. So according to utilitarianism, the one that produces the optimum good for the most people is the most ethical decision. So Jeremy Bentham argued that authors and inventors should be granted total rights over their work, ensuring that they are properly compensated for their efforts and further encouraging them to pursue more creative action. So applying this theory to intellectual property rights, legislators should find a balance between the monopoly of rights to stimulate growth and granting the populace access to invention in order to maximize the common welfare. The rights must also assist the inventor because without legal protection, any third party may copy his invention and therefore use it for their own purposes without granting any compensation. So utilitarianism is classified into two types, which are rule utilitarianism and also ad utilitarianism. So in this copyright infringement case, we can see that the ISD sellers are working hard to produce the greatest good for the greatest number of people by selling the TV boxes that enable the buyers to watch drama, movies, news, and also documentary over the TV box. So these TV boxes can just access content from Astro for free via an internet connection. And also besides, the cost of TV boxes is considerably cheaper than the subscription cost of Astro Pay TV service. So both the TV box users and also the ISD sellers have been benefited from it, but the right of copyright owner, which is the Astro company, has been violated without any compensation given. So that's all from me, and I'll pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Good day, I am Lim Men Huang, metric number 2778889. Now let's continue with the concept that's learned. So the first concept would be the ethnic in marketplace. The Astro Malaysia used to be a role in the monopoly markets until 2020, and then the market structure changed to the high degree, so-called concentrated oligopoly market. But then the Astro Malaysia still play a dominant role in the industry. Next, as we know, one of the characteristics of such markets is high barrier to entry. Some experts believe that instead of the companies practicing the oligopolistic or monopolistic actions, it actually shows that there's a superior product and strong business procedure. So there is a tendency to occur the events such as absolute corruptions, price rising, progress stagnate, and so on. So the consequence would be there's a lot of new players enter an industry called IPTV by selling and distribute the TV boxes and related items as mentioned in the cases. The second concept learned would be about the factor that avoid moral responsibilities for doing unethical. So in this part, there are 2 points which are euphemistic labeling and also uncertainty. Euphemistic labeling, this is under the moral disengagement theory suggested by Bandura. Those defendants behave ethically because they are profit and self-interest driven to serve the society to fulfill the market demand. However, their behavior are not economized because they are free from the cost, such as copyright-free by pay evasions. So they gain in economic interest through the loopholes in judicial regulations, weak and insufficient law enforcement, and so on. For the second point of the uncertainty, we can say that the weak awareness of the property rights and copyrights, and also the low legal literacy among the public had led to these issues happening. And also, majority of the sellers are concerned on the product sales and marketing instead of product productions, delivery, and supply. So there is a general assumption, which is since the product won't cause any injury, so their transactions is ethical. For example, since there is no specific regulations or law that govern the drop shipping industry, the physical sales or online advertising are more difficult to regulate. So the issue will occur and practice until nowadays. That's all from me. I would like to pass to the next person. Thank you.
Greeting to Mr. Raju. I am Tharmasilan Alalaki Gunasilan, metric number 279989, on to explain the ethical theories that relate to the case of selling TV boxes with unauthorized access. To start with the gesture, what is ethics or ethical thinking? The study of ethics focuses on the rational basis of moral judgment. It explores what is ethically right or wrong, fair or unfair. Ethics encompasses a broader range of topics, including freedom, responsibility, and justice, as well as human relationship with nature and other people. One of the major issues that we can relate ethical property with the current situation is copyrights and intellectual property issues. The related case of these issues is copyright infringement related to the selling TV boxes that have unauthorized access. This can be related to the one of the biggest unethical act because infringement is similarly to the theft and misuse of the property of someone else for their own good. There are several ethical theories that are suitable for the chosen case. The first is Aristotle's theory of virtue ethics. In Aristotle's theory of ethical virtue, he explains that the greatest happiness is a rational soul activity based on morality. Aristotle's argument is simply that a greater thing achieves its own good by performing its function, purpose, or the end. Therefore, humans can perform goodness or ethical doings by just performing their function or constituted acts. From Aristotle's perspective on the case, The knowledge of infringement is the first cause of unethical acts. The person who does the infringement of copyrights and intellectual property have known what they are doing and what might be the cause of their doings. But they have doing it for their only purpose of happiness and greed. Therefore, telos, in this case, doesn't have morality and ethics. Therefore, they could not be the person who will achieve happiness. The second ethical theory that relates to the case is Plato's moral theory. How best to live is the idea of Plato in explaining the ethics and morality of human beings. According to Plato, because of the bond of humans with the physical world, they tend to create a desire to achieve a certain thing. But Plato says, happiness is not an element that someone can desire. If humans desire happiness, it will turn into something searched for self-purpose. Then the happiness they search will disappear. Happiness is derived from the act they do, the righteous part of humans. This is the reason why Plato says that ethic is not a thing that human can see but perceive with knowledge. Related to the case, selling, offering to sell, distributing or making available TV boxes or illegal streaming devices containing unauthorized contents constitutes infringement, a wrongdoing act that violates the interest of right holder and customer rights. According to Plato moral theory, this act is derived by the desire and intellect of some person who want to achieve happiness, which is to produce money illegally.
Greetings to Mr. Raju. I'm BPMN3123. My metric number is 277064. I'm going to explain the last part of our presentation, which is the conclusion and ethical lessons. In relation to the copyrights and intellectual property issue, the case of selling TV boxes with unauthorized access was held by Kuala Lumpur Intellectual Property High Court. This is where ethical concepts and theories need to be applied. In this era, ethics and moral reasoning are becoming questionable, and most of the issues which occur don't have these attributes, especially in the business field. Ethical thinking and reasoning seems to be much faded in signing contracts and making products. Therefore, this case is the best example of copyright and intellectual property issues that have involved ethical and morality in daily life. Thus, these acts of infringement are wrong in legal aspects, and there are provisions in Malaysia such as the Copyrights Act 1987. The ethical lesson that we could learn from this case is, first, we can't take advantage of other people's effort. All the original work is protected under copyright when it's created. We should not simply take for granted the other's efforts without the author's permission. Taking advantage of someone's effort without permission will lead to unethical acts, which may conclude in an effortless benefit to someone else. The second lesson that we could learn from this case is, can't do things that harm others. Acts that cause harm and effect in many aspects such as health, wealth, situation, relationship and others cannot be performed, and it is also unethical. According to the case, Astro has stated that the industry has faced a loss of 3 billion ringgit because of the infringement problems which could happen per annum. The third lesson we could grasp from this case is always to have ethical thinking and personal reasoning before making a decision. Ethical reasoning is a sort of self-judgment that could balance right and wrong by yourself. Hence, ethical thinking for every decision and act must be performed by everyone in their situations, even though it's a difficult one. That's all from our group. Thank you.